Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Dante interrogates Danny during Brit's dangerous meeting. According to a General Hospital spoiler update, Dante Falconeri will question Danny Morgan while Brit Westbourne will have a dangerous encounter. A lot will be going on in Port Charles since Jocelyn Jackson Vaughn will also be changing. Emma Scorpio Drake will have some backup in case she needs it, even though she will be confident in her plan to use the stolen master key to break into Professor Henry Hank Dalton's lab. Emma will have some reinforcements in mind as she proceeds with the next steps, and Giovanni Gio Palmieri will conspire with her. The broadcast will also feature another cute Outback sighting. Fans will want to keep watching because Emma's dog will bark and continue to be involved in the action. Since Vaughn and Jocelyn have been removed from their investigation, Jack Brennan will meet with them in his office to discuss strategy. Jocelyn might be concerned that they did something incorrectly, but the true problem is that Dalton is no longer the primary target. Brennan is likely to deliver some new directives and have them both change their focus to a different target. The WSB might also learn that Brit is still alive since Jason Morgan is piecing it together. Brit might end up at the center of the investigation, but it could also be someone else who has ties to all the enigmatic studies. It appears a guy named Pascal will ambush Brit and sling some threats about on the show. There may be another way to find out Brit's involvement in this operation if Pascal is the WSB's new target. In relation to Brit, Jason will share with Anna Devane how he saw her board a plane in Paris. Anna will receive updates on every detail, even the fact that Brit's cremation date and time are not on file with the morgue. Jason will confront Anna and urge her to reassure him that he is not insane. Anna might concur and reassure Jason that this is more than just Brit's memory playing tricks on him. When Christina Corinthos Davis asks another character what occurred, she will appear concerned. When someone has questions about the show, Christina will corner them and offer assistance if she can. This may have something to do with Alexis Davis's quest for knowledge. Alexis will certainly interrogate Drew Kane and wonder how he plans to handle Scout Kane's confusion over his failed wedding. That might cause Alexis and Drew to argue before Christina shows up to question her mother. Dante will question Danny about a significant matter. Dante might inquire about Danny's son and how he's actually handling all of the Brit-related disclosures because Danny spends a lot of time with Rocco Falconeri. Dante can also question whether Danny has been informed about Rocco's meeting with Liesl Albrecht and any upcoming meetings. Since there's emotional distance between Dante and Rocco right now, he may feel like chatting to Danny is the next best thing. Lucas Jones will confide in Felicia Scorpio at GH because he will find it difficult to let go of Sonny Corinthos. Lucas will struggle to control his emotions because he is still furious about Sonny kidnapping Marco Rios. Felicia will offer some advice and make an effort to assist Lucas in navigating his complex relationship with Marco, but Marco's vindictive alliance with Jen Sidwell may make matters worse. You can guarantee that Lucas and Marco's romance will continue to be impacted by Sonny and Sidwell's ongoing fight in the upcoming weeks. Sonny will receive some shocking news in the interim. Sonny could agree with Michael Corinthos about keeping Willow Tate away from the children, at least for the time being, as it appears that he will be hearing about the wedding turmoil and her tantrums. According to General Hospital spoilers, Michael's first focus will continue to be safeguarding Wiley and Amelia Corinthos, so keep an eye out. General Hospital spoilers, what GH fans can expect on August 5th. General Hospital spoilers hint that at least 5 August surprises are on the horizon, so let's chat about what GH viewers can expect. There will be a lot for viewers to anticipate on the ABC soap opera, including some significant admissions and complex romances. 1. Emma tells Trina the truth first. Emma Scorpio Drake will tell Trina Robinson the truth about Giovanni Gio Palmieri. Emma enjoys being friends with Gio, but she has more feelings for him than that. Trina might encourage Emma to tell Gio what's on her mind once she shares her romantic news. Gio undoubtedly feels the same way, so with some wise counsel, Trina may act as a matchmaker for them. 2. Sonny's unexpected links and Sonny Corinthos will have an unexpected connection with ADA Justine Turner. Let's talk about him next. There is a spark that is simmering behind all of the tension between them. Given that Sonny and Justine are about to have an intimate moment, that spark might intensify. Is it possible that Justine and Sonny will kiss or possibly sleep together? 3. A spectacular reunion between Jason and Britt is imminent, as Jason Morgan will also find Britt Westbourne. Britt and Jason will definitely have a lot to speak about since they've both returned from the dead. It'll be interesting to learn more about Britt's current studies along with the narrative of how she survived. Regarding Jason and Britt's chemistry, it ought to be fully restored and might soon lead to exploding desire. 4. The increasing temptation for Curtis and Jordan. In the meantime, Curtis Ashford and Jordan Ashford will experience temptation. Could Curtis betray Portia Robinson with his ex-wife as a result of Jordan and Curtis becoming too close? 5. Sidwell and Lucy discuss their relationship status with Jen. Sidwell and Lucy Co. They will no longer dance around their relationship. Sidwell and Lucy will admit that they are drawn to one another and discuss whether or not to start dating. According to General Hospital spoilers, there will be a lot of action in August, so check back often for updates. General Hospital spoilers, is a new mother-daughter bond developing as Willow rejects Nina but embraces Liesl? According to General Hospital teasers, Willow Corinthos is allegedly pushing Nina Reeves away while showing her heart to her great-aunt, Liesl Albrecht, while Port Charles is seething with broken family connections. Willow's attitude toward forgiveness has been hardened by Nina's transgressions, including her affair with Drew Quartermain and her continuous fabrications to hide it, leaving her motherless and adrift. In the meantime, Willow's fragility appeals to Liesl, who is mourning the alleged death of her daughter Britt Westbourne. We must consider the possibility that Liesl might unintentionally take Nina's position in Willow's universe. Willow's unforgiving heart shuts the door on Nina. Willow's inability to forgive Nina for her affair with Drew makes us wonder if the mother-daughter pair will ever be able to live together again. Echoing her experience with Harmony Miller, Nina's frantic attempts to repair their relationship after years of mistakes fail in the face of Willow's suffering. Willow longs for a mother's consolation after losing custody of Wiley and Amelia Corinthos to Michael Corinthos, but Nina is kept at a distance by her harsh attitude. Is Willow's heart simply too stony to ever allow Nina to return? Liesl enters Willow's void. Liesl could provide Willow comfort. After all, it's highly likely that Liesl's kind counsel regarding loss and family will resonate. Could Willow's mother-shaped void be filled by Liesl's tales of Britt? Since Britt's death, Liesl has yearned for a daughter. Given that Jason Morgan recently seen a woman who resembled Britt, Liesl may end up becoming Willow's new anchor. Even though Nina didn't mean for her interference to do so, it might really help Willow become closer to Liesl. Will Liesl and Willow become closer, unintentionally excluding Nina in the process? Will Willow's heart belong to Liesl instead of Nina? Willow appears to be at a turning point in her life, and whatever intimacy she develops with Liesl could potentially overshadow Nina. Will Willow's inability to forgive Nina allow Liesl to take on the role of her surrogate mother? This irony could reflect the same conflict Rocco Falconeri is facing with Lulu Spencer and Britt. A reaction to a false death report from Nancy Lee Grahn. General Hospital's Nancy Lee Grahn responded to a rumor that she died in Hawaii following recent tsunami warnings. She made fun of the blog that said she had crossed over to the huge bridge in the sky to another life, but don't worry, she is still alive. Alive after death reports. Some ABC fans were a little taken aback on July 31st when Nancy posted a screenshot of the death report on Instagram. In the comments area, one of them said to her, "My heart never fell so fast." Avoid doing it, the TV personality wrote, "I'm back," in her post. Another soap diva makes a comeback. Other supporters react to hoax. Alexis Davis supporters were relieved to learn that she is alive in the comments section. Others thought that the spread of fake news was growing out of control. In response, one of them wrote, "Gosh, for a minute I felt anxious. I'm glad you're not dead." Other responses include, "Happy you, that was bullshit. You had better be here to win your daytime Emmy. Why in the world would they publish something like this? What's wrong with humans? Why are people disseminating such nonsense?" In the end, they post that kind of scam because they profit from clicks. So at the present, there seems to be a lot of fake news around. When the tsunami warnings came in, Nancy rushed to social media to reassure her supporters that she was safe. "We heard that Nancy was living in a mansion that was 300 feet above sea level while she was in Hawaii. A tsunami that high would have been a complete catastrophe, therefore it was understandable that her fans who viewed the tweet were relieved." Over time, the GH star made multiple appearances to display the scene from her vacation house, and each time she assured them that she was safe. In one of them, she wrote, "Last glance of paradise." The beach below her appeared to be deserted, and the scenery appeared to be as breathtaking as ever. Anyone who follows her would have seen that the report was a hoax, not to minimize the terrifying tsunami. She may have returned to her home with Kate in Los Angeles at this point. For more than a week, she and her daughter Kate have been posting pictures from their Kauai trip, and they both survived. An old friend helps Jason locate Britt on General Hospital. He's getting closer to locating his ex-lover. Jason has been plagued by the memory of seeing a woman who looked like Britt at the airport. Jason understands all too well how simple it is to get swept into a completely different existence away from Port Charles because he was twice presumed dead. Jason has reached Elizabeth's house, the only person who would voluntarily break the law for him. Elizabeth told him that she would only do this for him when he requested access to GH's morgue data. Jason found the mortuary that handled Britt's ashes while looking for her paperwork, and he was on his way. However, upon his arrival, he discovered that their dossier on Britt had never been finished. Dante's dad's predicament. While Jason has been thinking about Britt, Dante has been thinking about her mother, Liesl. Following a tense meeting at Anna's apartment, Gio told her about his other son and Rocco's desire to make friends with Liesl. Despite being well aware of the harm that both Britt and Liesl can cause, Anna was able to guide Dante on how to support Rocco during this difficult time. Jason is going to knock on Anna's door after Dante's visit in the hopes of getting some clarification from his friend regarding his belief that Britt is still alive. Jason thought about the man near the pool again. Before Jason could question him, he disappeared. Soon after, Dante and Lulu had arrived to talk to Liesl about something unrelated, some worry about movement around the Quartermain estate, and as soon as they started their furious exchange, the man had vanished without a trace. Jason, however, had not missed him. Not now. The man's gaze on Liesl was another item that caught his attention. Curiosity wasn't the reason. Fear wasn't the reason. It was a sense of familiarity. As if he was aware of her identity. Perhaps even collaborated with her. Is there something Liesl is concealing? Jason was plagued by the question for the remainder of the day. Jason went back to the data he kept locked in his safe when night fell and Danny was in bed. He combed over every bit of information, searching for ghosts, including travel manifests from the period surrounding Britt's alleged death, encrypted hospital access logs, and old security footage. And he kept returning to one possibility that he couldn't get rid of. What if Britt had made it through? It would have required careful preparation, the ideal circumstance, and a compelling reason for her to leave behind everyone who cared about her. However, she could do it. Britt's instinct for self-preservation had been cultivated from an early age and reinforced by her parents' example. And who was to blame for her fading into the background after being given a death sentence based on her own DNA? Jason's mind started to fit the pieces together. Britt may have taken precautions to protect herself from the unavoidable decline brought on by Huntington's disease. A switch for the body. Falsified records. With her medical and deceitful skills, Liesl may have assisted in setting the scene. The death in public. The mother in mourning. The funeral. It might have all been a show. However, why? Then a memory from before Britt's diagnosis came back. In a private moment, she had discussed the concept of parenting. With a sort of reverent longing rather than a desperate, seeking way. Jason recalled how she said she wasn't sure she'd ever get the chance, and her voice quivered just a little. That everything appeared to be against her, her background, her health, and her physique. She still made an effort, though. What if she had conceived? Everything would have been different if Britt had been pregnant when she received her diagnosis. The cause of her disappearance suddenly became apparent. She wasn't merely fleeing an illness. She was rushing to keep her kid safe. And Jason might become a father once more if that were the case. With his fingers running through his hair, he walked the room while the chair creaked beneath him. To aid Sasha and keep her safe, he had been prepared to father a kid that wasn't his, to Daisy. But Britt had thought she had no other option, therefore he needed to know whether there was a real child, his own blood, hiding somewhere. Jason was not a man who allowed emotions to dictate his behavior. This time, however, his feelings were intertwined with each action. he couldn't help but think of Britt, alive, hiding, perhaps raising a child by herself. The truth had to be known to him. The following day, he went back to Metro Court. For observation, not for a fight. He kept an eye out for trends. Individuals. Faces he had failed to notice. He caught a glimpse of the enigmatic figure again, sneaking into the service corridor behind the kitchens just before the terrace. Jason's footsteps were almost silent as he followed. He found him in an empty hallway close to the laundry area. Startled but not scared, the man turned. Jason remarked, "You have been observing me." "I observe a lot of people," the man said with ease. "As part of the job." Jason remained unflinching. The man paused, then said, "Then you know I don't play games." His face changed, recognition, admiration, perhaps even remorse. He whispered, "She's safe." Jason felt his heart hit his ribs hard. "She's alive." The man gave one nod. "However, she is unable to return." "Not just yet." "Why?" "Because she had a decision to make. A painful one. And because some people would kill to get her back." "Is she a parent?" The ensuing hush was sufficient response. With the weight of it pressing against his chest, Jason let out a lengthy exhale. "Is it mine?" The man remained silent. However, Jason could tell everything he needed to know from the flicker in his eyes, guilt, confirmation, and grief. He made no further requests. "Then no." Jason stood by himself in the hallway, his thoughts racing, while the man vanished into the darkness as if he had never been there. Britt was alive out there somewhere. His child was, too. And, no matter how long it took, he would find them. Jason is assisted by Liz, and Willow begs Michael. Willow pleaded with Michael on GH today to allow her to see Wiley and Amelia, but he refused. He informed her that before she can spend time with the kids, she needed time to recover. Carly Spencer is helicopter momming while Dante Falconeri has a tense meeting. Willow Tate also begs Michael Corinthos to make arrangements so they can visit their kids. Emma Scorpio Drake searches for her charger at Anna Devane's house while Anna makes a phone call during Dante's awkward encounter. When the dog enters the room excited to go for a stroll, Anna says that this cannot happen again and that they must establish a routine for the dog to guarantee that she is always taken care of. Emma says that tonight she is meeting with Professor Henry Dalton. Gio Palmieri leaves as she tries to maintain his favor so she can eventually replace Jocelyn Jacks when she is sacked. After an awkward moment when Dante arrives, he meets the dog and Gio thanks Anna for letting him remain. He and Emma then go. Dante continues speaking with Anna when Dante asks Anna how serious the situation was. Anna responds that he and Gio are similar in many ways and that Dante has been trying to let Gio set the pace, but nothing has changed. He explains that things became much more complicated when Rocco Falconeri learned of Britt Westbourne's role in his birth. They planned to tell him later, but he learned about it on his own and got in touch with Liesl Albrecht, who was happy to help. Rocco now has a newfound sense of doubt about his parents. She thinks he's just attempting to protect his sons. As Anna worries about Emma, Dante and Anna talk about the woman Jocelyn put a tracker on. Dante tells Anna he has a name, but it's likely a bogus one, and they wonder whether Dalton is involved. Anna informs him of Emma's peculiar ejection and her connection to Dalton. She assumes that Emma is once more targeting Dalton. They consider every relationship that might exist between Emma and Dalton. Anna worries that Emma might become ensnared in something from which she is unable to break free. Since there's a chance she might die, Dante is resolved to help however he can. Joss informs Vaughn that the backup tracker was absent for 3 hours before resurfacing on the tracking system while Carly's helicopter mom is by the pool. When Carly gets there, she sees them together. Joss gives Vaughn a short kiss and heads out with her mother after she interrupts and begs to speak with her daughter in her office. When they get at the office, Joss wonders why her mother took her there because she doesn't think Vaughn is a good person and she's shocked that her mother is keeping an eye on her personal life. When Carly says that Vaughn is too old for her, Josh dismisses it, saying that although her mother believes her, she now has reservations about Vaughn after talking to Anna. Josh reassures her that there isn't any odd triangle and that she and Vaughn are not exclusive, but they still find it annoying that Vaughn seems to be pitting her and Emma against one another. Stella buttonholes Curtis regarding Trina and Kai's split. Stella Henry approaches Curtis Ashford and demands to know why Trina Robinson and Kai Taylor broke up. Even though Stella has been trying to respect Trina's privacy, she feels that the breakup was a big mistake, and he finds it difficult to explain. According to Curtis, they have just discovered that they hold different opinions on important issues. She dismisses this and suggests they use matchmaking to patch things up, but he doesn't agree, believing it's a bad idea. She decides to take matters into her own hands nevertheless. Willow begs Michael at the Quartermain home that she miscalculated Drew Kane. Michael knows that Willow's affections for Drew were sincere and that Drew had been deceiving her all along. He makes it clear that Drew prevented her from seeing him in Germany, and he maintains that he would never have turned her down. She begs him to talk about their kids because he thinks that a lot of this conflict might have been avoided if they had met that day. She begs him to settle their differences so she can see the children, but he thinks it could be too late. He responds, "I don't want the kids to see you." Michael tells Carly that he isn't punishing her at all when Willow asks how long he plans to punish her. Willow falls apart again. She isn't a factor in his current concerns, which are solely for his kids. He is aware that she is going through a lot, but she isn't currently handling the problem with the perspective of a mother. He acknowledges that she has been harmed, but she needs to put her healing first. She promises that she will always remember how he turned her down when she begged to see her children. Michael rushes to his mother's office and sums up his interaction with Willow, expressing uncertainty about whether she will recover enough to spend time with the kids once more. Drew arrives at Elizabeth seeking Willow at Elizabeth Weber's house. Drew says he wants to help Willow get back together with her kids, but she advises him to back off if he really wants to help. When Jason Morgan shows there, she is unable to deal with him at this time. The two men scowl at each other. Jason is only there to visit Liz. Drew restates that he is only there to assist Willow and suggests that Jason convince Michael to let her see her children. Jason wishes Willow would at last acknowledge that Drew has destroyed her life. After Drew leaves, Liz explains that Willow will be staying there, to which Jason replies that it's really considerate of her. Jason then asks Elizabeth for a favor. Liz cautions him that she might jeopardize her employment if he asks to review the data pertaining to the dead sent from the GH morgue. After assuring her that this has nothing to do with Sonny Corinthos and that she won't be punished, she takes out her laptop and accesses the documents, enabling him to search for information. After learning that Britt was taken to Lawrence Mortuary, he thanks Liz for providing him with the information he required. As he leaves, she tells him to exercise caution. Jason goes to the mortuary and discovers that there is no record of Britt's cremation. As Joss and Vaughn converse, Gio and Emma plot. When they get at the pool, the dog runs directly to Vaughn. Emma requests that Gio bring the puppy back, but he refuses. Emma thinks they will get along well, but Joss returns and takes Vaughn away as Vaughn approaches with the dog and apologizes for the altercation with Joss. Emma flinches before telling Gio that she entered the lab using Vaughn's master key. Joss shares her mother's and Anna's worries with Vaughn. He explains that Jack Brennan is taking them off the investigation and appears to be aware of the circumstances. Drew talks to Curtis after Martin Gray meets Drew. The congressman tells her that Curtis was the one who disclosed his relationship with Willow. When Curtis and Stella arrive, he is not glad to see Drew. She sees his discontent and begins to discuss the wedding. After she goes, Drew tells Curtis that he has realized he has a lot of enemies. Drew approaches Curtis and asks for a moment alone with him. He wants to suggest a truce, but he doesn't think they will ever be friends again. They reach a consensus, and he even considers giving up the proof of blackmail he has against Portia Robinson. Willow catches Liz up while Drew is playing the long game. The lawyer tells Martin how helpful Stella has been, saying that she did a fantastic job of getting him insurance funds when no one else could. Martin notes how courteous Drew seemed to be with Curtis, and Drew explains that he wasn't announcing a truce but rather planning for the future. Curtis tells Stella that he and Drew have decided to call it quits in the interim. Willow later arrives and gives Liz an update on Michael's condition. She acknowledges that Rick Lansing was right and knows she needs to show everyone that she is stable. Emma's backup, Sonny perplexed, WSB's new target, and Jason's suspicion. As a seasoned former WSB agent, Anna is accustomed to intricate plans, cover-ups, and fictitious fatalities on the next GH. Will she accept that Britt is still alive, Jason? Emma Scorpio Drake will provide backup, fans may anticipate. Dante Falconeri interrogated Danny Morgan. Additionally, Jason Morgan discusses Britt Westbourne with Anna Devane. Anna Devane's finding first, let's talk about Jason, who can't get the woman he saw at the airport out of his head. Experience has taught the right-hand man that death isn't always final. Jason discovered the location of Britt's body's removal with the help of Elizabeth Liz Baldwin. However, Jason discovered that Britt was never cremated after examining the death certificate. Jason is now seriously considering the possibility that Britt's death was staged. In the end, he confides his suspicions to Anna. Danny Morgan is questioned by Dante because he is unsure of how to handle Giovanni Gio Palmieri's problem. Dante had an unsettling encounter with Gio when he dropped over to visit Anna. Anna gave the detective some insight. But he may also want to ask Danny some questions. Dante might also question the teen about Liesl Albrecht and Rocco Falconeri. Emma Scorpio Drake's backup. According to General Hospital teasers, Emma and Gio are going to break in. Anna worries, though, that Emma is going to find herself in a predicament from which she will be unable to escape. Emma assures Gio that she has the dog as a backup. But Professor Henry Hank Dalton is no longer the objective, Jack Brennan tells Vaughn and Jocelyn Jacks. Felicia Scorpio's attempt to counsel Lucas Jones is also hinted at. Lucas describes his internal struggle in a sneak peek at the upcoming episode. Sonny Corinthos learns of someone's actions elsewhere. Michael Corinthos may be discussing Willow Tate's recent actions with his father. Would Willow be able to visit Sonny's psychiatrist? The fluctuations and conflicting extremes of Willow's behavior seem unavoidable to me. Therefore, by the end of this plot, she might receive a mental health diagnosis. Additionally, Britt is shown answering the door in a preview clip. A man who cannot be seen says Britt is not leaving. Just when Jason's world was starting to come together again, another loss threatened to tear it apart once again. There were a lot of hushed conversations and quick glances in Port Charles, which is always full of secrets and murmurs, and with good reason, rumors had started to circulate that WSB Chief Jack Brennan might be dead. For the majority, this could have meant a change in leadership or a reorganization. However, it was emotional, intimate, and transformative for Carly. The unofficially confirmed news came as a reminder of all the heartbreaks she had barely endured. Jason, Sonny, and even Anna had cautioned Carly that her relationship with Jack would turn out to be more complicated than she had anticipated. In addition to being intense, captivating, and dangerous, Jack had showed her something genuine, unadulterated emotion, a departure from the pattern of deceit and power struggles she was accustomed to. That was the reason his loss was so painful. He had served as both her awakening and her getaway. And he was gone now. When Jason discovered Carly sitting by herself at the Metro Courts bar, her palm clenched over a half-empty glass, he knew she was on the verge of a downward spiral. Although she didn't cry, at least not in public, Jason was well aware of her sorrow. He could see it in her inability to look him in the eyes, the shaking of her fingers, and her final whisper, "He was supposed to come back to me." Jason didn't respond. Nothing could be said. Rather, he sat silently next to her, their silence speaking louder than words could. However, Carly's destruction went beyond her personal life. Jason had a suspicion that Jack's death wasn't clean as the facts started to come together. The sum of too many things was off. Jack had had a falling out with Jocelyn, a younger agent. Through back channels, Jason had heard rumors that Jack had enlisted her without Carly's knowledge. Jason was struck by a sudden realization. Jocelyn may have been involved in something much more sinister than anybody had anticipated, and now Carly was not only mourning a loved one but also struggling with the possibility that he had led her daughter into the very danger she had attempted to shield her from. Jason made an effort to emotionally separate himself. He was forced to. His thoughts had been divided ever since Britt had returned, or at least ever since he believed he had seen her. He had thought he had lost the lady he loved forever, but now she was back in his life. He didn't merely think she was still alive. He had seen her. Her voice had reached him. In the airport, he had almost touched her hand before she vanished like smoke once more. The stranger, the same man who had sat next to him on the airline and subsequently at the Metro Court pool, then arrived. The man had continued to watch him, Carly, and Rocco. Jason never made snap judgments, but his intuition was always right. It was no accident that man was there. He had asked Spinelli in a low voice, encouraging him to see past the metro courts and the airport's surveillance. Jason's discomfort was only heightened by what he discovered. No database had the man's name. They cleaned, sterilized, or faked his identity. A glimmer of recognition appeared when he handed Dante the picture. Dante had also spotted him outside Liesel's office. And Liesel, when the stranger walked by, she had frozen, her eyes staring at him almost fearfully. Jason realized then that Britt's reappearance was more than just a coincidence. Yes, she was alive, but she had been kept that way by someone. Someone with a strategy. Carly became more erratic as Jason attempted to maintain equilibrium amid the insanity that was erupting around him. Jason had witnessed her grieving change from sadness to rage in the past. Carly's grief ripped through anything and everyone who tried to stand in her way, like a cyclone. He sensed her creeping closer once more, viewing him as her anchor and constant rather than just a buddy. And Jason was having trouble, in spite of himself. There had always been room in his heart for Carly. However, much have changed since then. Not since Britt. Everything changed the night Jason thought he saw Britt. He was undone by that sudden flash of realization. All of the evenings he spent by her side while she was ill, the silent fortitude she displayed in the face of death, the vulnerability she shared with him alone, it all came rushing back. He was unable to let it go. The emotions were genuine. And he needed to know if she had made it out alive or if she had stayed away. However, Jason was suddenly torn between two strong, diametrically opposed affections as Carly stood in front of him, leaning into his stillness and silently requesting that he move closer. Carly wanted him to be her shield once more because she was broken but blazing with rage. She had always done so. However, if Britt was really alive, she stood for serenity, which Jason had never experienced before. Silent, uncomplicated, unyielding peace. The kind that wasn't burdened by expectations. Carly changed how she behaved during the next few days. As her suspicions grew, she questioned Jason more about his whereabouts, his sightings, and his intended target. Once, when Jason had been following up on a lead regarding the mysterious man, she even followed him all the way to the hospital basement. He sternly yet kindly challenged her. "Carly, you don't get to do this." "Not now," he said softly to her. She said, "I'm not trying to mess anything up," but her eyes were telling. Jason moaned, his chest aching more and more, "I just don't want to lose you. I'm not leaving you." She agreed, but he knew that wasn't the end of it. "But you have to let me figure this out." Carly never relinquished her desires. Not entirely. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.